Let's do this before our GoPro overheats. We're driving a 2022 Nissan Pathfinder. Coming up, we're going to tell you which trim we would buy if we were buying a Pathfinder. But first, information explosion! For those who don't know, the Nissan Pathfinder is a 3-row mid-size SUV. It competes with like the Honda Pilot and Toyota Highlander, that kind of stuff. Let's begin with interior.
The style is very squared off and bulky. It reminds me of the vibe of being in a truck.
So the 4th generation, the previous one, had gotten very kind of like swoopy and bulbous. And with this generation, they've gone back to the Pathfinder's roots, which are truck-based, square, beefy, brawny. You see it in the exterior?
Faux diamond plate.
Faux diamond plate. The thing that impresses me about the Pathfinder's interior is material quality. This isn't even the fanciest trim, but the stitching is really nice. Right here, this sort of mid panel on the door, very soft and comfortable. And as you move up even further, they incorporate a little bit more color. I think it's really quite nice. Oh, and even right here too, next to my knee area, in addition to glass-like, very fragile elbows, my knees are so sensitive. Oh, being a journalist is hard. And so over here, this little padded area, I find really nice.
The functionality of the interior is really good too. Like this big space down here that you can store all your party hats.
If you look in the doors, especially the 2nd row doors, there are so many cup holders. It's kind of like when you go to a fast food restaurant and you order for yourself and then they give you silverware for 2 because they're like, well, clearly 2 people are going to be using this. It's like Nissan assumed 2 people would be using every seat.
Which I'm realizing I have an excessive amount of drinks with me at all times. This is one of the few vehicles where I felt like there are an adequate number of cup holders.
Yeah, and that little slot there that I'm told can fit any generation or version of iPhone, but that's a really logical little thing to have there. I find that seated behind myself, I am 5'10", there's plenty of room in the 2nd row. It's got that elevated theater style seating setup too. So you're a little bit up, you got a great field of view, plenty of space, and then access to the 3rd row is super cool.
So I love how a kid can just push one button and get in, and push one button and get out very easily. Yeah,
and the pass-through is really wide too. They've got these flat step areas, so it's really easy for a little one to get in and out. And I think that what's a really killer feature in the Pathfinder is how the 2nd row can flip forward for access to the 3rd row, even if you have a car seat in place.
Oh yeah, I was really excited about that because I haven't seen that before.
So I think that functionality is great. Much better than like the Highlander, where like if you're trying to flip seats and move stuff, oftentimes it requires 2 hands. That is just a single button that anybody can use. And if you want to flip the seat flat for more cargo space, then just pull right up and it just flips flat. It's so easy. And then if you go to the 3rd row, there's room for me. Again, I'm average, but even a taller person, if you're over 6 foot, you could still fit in the 3rd row and have plenty of headspace. And if the person in front of you is nice, so like not a Micah Muzio type, then you could ask them to slide forward a little bit and you'd have plenty of knee space too. What do you think about the cargo space?
When I saw it without cargo in it, I thought it looked too small, but we actually fit 2 rolling suitcases and all the gear we needed to shoot. So it seems reasonable for travel.
And then also there's the hidden area underneath.
Oh yeah, that area is super cool because it's actually big enough to put stuff in there, which a lot of those hidden storage areas are not.
And then you've got this little divider so you can subdivide the subfloor. It's a really useful space.
So cool.
For our needs, the 2nd row captain's chairs is fine. That's a 7-passenger capacity, but you can also get 8 seats in everything except the absolute top platinum trim. But if you get the captain's seats, you get the center console, which is removable, which is really neat because sometimes you want it there, but if you want even easier access to the 3rd row, like say have your kids just go down the middle, you can just pull that center console right out. The latch points are relatively accessible. We've got outboard on the 2nd row and on the driver's side in the third row, so you could put 3 car seats in with no problem.
And the height of this vehicle is pretty good too for somebody who is short like me. I didn't have any problem buckling our girl in.
As for safety, the NHTSA has not rated the 2022 Nissan Pathfinder just yet, but it does include all the expected active safety assist, things like lane departure warning, automatic emergency braking, and then also 10 airbags standard. So side impact airbags and front knee airbags for both front occupants come standard on every single Pathfinder. What do we think? Is the Nissan Pathfinder family friendly?
Oh, heck yeah, family friendly.
Gotta make the oh heck yeah graphic. Rear window test. Oh no, it didn't go all the way down. One elbow up. Armrest test. We're sitting here at an interminably long light. As always, I kind of wish it was just a little bit further inboard, though I'm recognizing that depending on how much carriage the person in the front seat has, that might be a little bit of an issue, but I can rest both of my elbows, and they're maybe a little bit low inside, but roughly even height, and no stitching along the edge, nice and soft. Yeah, I'm gonna go 3/4 elbow up on both the inboard and the outboard. Hey, have you subscribed to our channel? If you haven't, please do. At 100,000 subs, we're gonna review a windowless white van. Style! She's done with her fig bar, and we're going to talk about style. Milady, do you have any thoughts about the style of the Nissan Pathfinder?
This is one of those vehicles where nothing really sticks out to me except those big bulging side pieces.
Side pieces? Are you talking about the rocker panels?
I'm talking about right above the... Wait, I'm making a lot of noise with that.
Like, sounds like you're doing Foley work for a roaring fire. Now make thunder. Which part are you talking about?
I'm talking about right above the rear door.
The kind of bulky fender
like they
design.
almost come out to a little triangle point.
So that is a recollection of the earlier generation Pathfinder design that had like very blocky fenders. You can really see the undulations in the bodywork when you look at the reflections and you move around it. Initially, when I saw this for the very first time, we did a first look video for Kelley Blue Book, and I thought, man, that is a lot of big Pathfinder text on the back, and I didn't like it, but the more I look at it, I kind of like the fonts. It kind of looks like, I don't know, like a blade or something like that, and I sort of dig it. Yeah, the more time I spend with the Pathfinder, the cooler I think it looks, which I think is a good sign, because sometimes you get enamored with the design immediately and then that fades. Other times you start to warm up to it, like an arranged marriage.
So what's happening here?
A bad metaphor is happening.
They do not want you to forget what vehicle you are driving.
Yeah.
Like it says it here and on the doors, which is common, and it is so huge in the back.
Yeah, and along the sides. Hey everybody, we're driving a Pathfinder.
Don't forget it.
What do you think about the styling of the Nissan Pathfinder? Do you like it, dislike it? Tell us in the comments. If you're curious what I'm driving or flying between YouTube videos, give me a follow over on Instagram. Oh, it's very dark all of a sudden. And if you're curious what our family is up to, if you can see her, give Evie a follow. In motion! Needless full throttle acceleration, and this is a great part to start the in motion segment, because what you may have noticed if you spent time in the previous Nissan Pathfinder was a lack of wheezing engine noise that comes with a continuously variable transmission. But this has a 9-speed automatic transmission, so it drives when you're accelerating just like a normal vehicle. And it's a great 9-speed too. The shifts are discreet, and I just floored it there. That was pretty snappy reactions, reasonable acceleration from the naturally aspirated V6. It's a good powertrain, and just that one change, the addition of a 9-speed automatic, I think makes this a much more palatable SUV than the previous version. What's funny is that one of the main reasons why they went to the 9-speed automatic was to improve tow capacity. But a nifty side benefit is that you don't hate driving it.
And that we all don't have to listen to you complain about the CVT.
Finally, America's coming together around one issue. We don't want to hear Micah complain. In addition, ride quality is really nice. It's fairly quiet in here. We drove a Jeep to pick this thing up, so by comparison, this feels awesome. But yeah, there's a little bit of on-center looseness, but otherwise, if you drive this around for like a day, you won't think about any of that stuff. We have a convenient stoplight here. As I'm applying the brakes, firm pedal feel. Let's see if I can come to that velvety, buttery, smooth stop where you can't tell when motion has ended and motionless has begun. Steady, 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 steady. Oh. It's good. It's good. Nice brakes. I'm satisfied driving the Nissan Pathfinder, but what does Sweetie think? Sweetie is driving the Pathfinder. We're about to turn out here on the main road, and when you are clear, just give it some juice.
Yeah, that felt really responsive.
While we're standing here completely motionless, tell me, how do you like the visibility out?
I think the visibility is great. The windows are large. The pillars don't seem to be impeding my view. Visibility is good.
Any ergonomic concerns? Do you feel like it fits you okay?
Everything seemed adjustable enough to make me comfortable, yes.
What I'm reading here is that there are no game-killing flaws that would make this an awful vehicle for you to drive. Everything just seems to work.
Yeah, good enough.
Hey, we've achieved good enough status. That's good enough for me. Good job, Sweetie. Overall, I think this is a nicely tuned, fine driving SUV. Up next, emotion factor. Do you think there's an emotion factor here, Sweetie?
I'm not feeling a lot of emotion in here, but I think it's styled to appeal to someone who is not myself. Somebody who likes things that are a bit more squared off and rugged.
Ah, there we go, the ceremonial overheating of the GoPro. Before this one overheats, I will say that when we drove the Honda Pilot, it didn't feel particularly emotive either, but in the right setting, if you want to drive dangerously fast and take chances, you can add emotion. I think that the style of the Nissan Pathfinder is intriguing, and that many people will be emotionally drawn to that style, though not necessarily you.
Totally.
Are you feeling emotionally drawn to buy a Nissan Pathfinder of your very own? If so, click the Kelley Blue Book listing link in the description below. Remarks! Remark number one, I think it's amazing that you can have a GoPro in an air-conditioned car and still have it overheat. Remark number two, the 8-inch and optional 9-inch infotainment systems, to my mind, they work fine. I don't know if the menu structure is necessarily as intuitive as others I've seen. The other thing I noticed too is that when you push it, sometimes it's a little bit laggy. What's been your experience?
I would agree with both of those. I do like how it's set up physically with the row of buttons and the knobs and the touch screens.
So the digital buttons duplicate the physical buttons, and I wish they were aligned. So audio,
oh, that's ridiculous.
menu, map. So that'd be my little nitpicky complaint.
And if you have smaller arms, you might have difficulty reaching across.
That's true. You know what that's going to spark? People who point out that you just be controlling everything with a little knob down here. Touche, everybody. It does also bring up something. If you look at how this is displayed here, what surrounds it, Sweetie?
Shiny black plastic.
Oh boy. Everybody,
shiny black plastic.
I don't know of any more controversial material in the automotive world than shiny black plastic. Right. I actually lost my train of thought, so I'm not quite sure where we were in the conversation, but I do know that GoPro's going again, at least for a little while. We were talking about the infotainment system. One thing I really like about Nissan is that they offer a primo 360-degree camera system that works really, really well. It's vivid enough. It's got logical angles. When you put it into drive after having been in reverse, it shows you what the front tire is doing, so you can get nice and close to a curb. It will not activate at freeway speeds. It's a really great system. I like it a lot. You know how Honda and Kia have that cabin talk feature that amplifies the driver's voice to rear seat passengers?
I sure do.
Well, Nissan doesn't have that, so don't ask for it.
Boo.
And then also, I don't know if there's a quiet mode. You know how like you can just have audio for the front passengers and it's missing for the back? There are a few family-friendly features that I'm finding on other vehicles in the same category that don't seem to be present here. What is present here is a 6,000-pound tow rating, and 6,000 pounds is more than 5,000 pounds, which is how much most mid-sized three-row SUVs can tow. By the way, the version we're driving right now is all-wheel drive. All-wheel drive is available for $1,900 if you need it. And as long as we're on the freeway here, so we're cruising along at steady state 72, The vehicle recognizes the lines. Let's see how well it keeps it in its lane. Oh, and this is going to be tricky too because we've got a merging car. And this is why we need humans. Oh, good. It's doing a good job braking. We're not going to plow into the back of an M4. It's warning me that I need to steer still. Good job. Yeah, it handled that very nicely. I teased at the beginning of the video that we would tell you which trim we would get. This is a weird one, but I would get the base trim Pathfinder.
That's so unlike you.
It comes with 3-zone climate control and intelligent key because you know I will not reach in my pocket to push a button to unlock my vehicle. I think we could get the base Pathfinder and be totally happy with it. One thing that is not included in the base that I would like to have would be a power tailgate. But in order to get that, you have to get the SV trim, which is an extra $2,800, and then the premium package on top of that. In the end, you'll have a Pathfinder with second row captain's chairs, heated front seats, a power driver's seat, and that kind of stuff. But that's, I don't know, almost $5,000 just to get the one feature that I think would be really helpful for families, which is the power liftgate. Doesn't really seem worth it. So buy that cheap one.
How much is it to add the all-wheel drive with these nifty added modes?
If you scroll back 2 minutes in the video, I would cue the footage of me telling you it's $1,900. By the way, the version we're driving right now is all-wheel drive. All-wheel drive is available for $1,900 if you need it. Sweetie, if you're not paying attention to the video, what hope is there for the audience? Lastly, the competitors you'd want to think about if you were going to buy a Nissan Pathfinder are Honda Pilot, though it's very late in its life cycle. Toyota Highlander, though I find some of its interior functionality to be a little finicky. Kia Telluride, which I really like. What do you think? You like the Telluride?
I like the Telluride.
It's a good looking SUV, a lot of room, great features. That would be, I think, the one to beat. The point being that there are a lot of other 3-row midsize SUVs to consider. That camera has overheated yet again. We'll come back at that camera after it's cooled down with Synopsis. Quickly, before this overheats, in thinking about the essence of the Nissan Pathfinder, it is a vehicle that kind of let itself go a little bit, but it's back in fighting form. To me, it is the Mark Hamill from The Last Jedi Star Wars movie of midsize 3-row SUVs. Do you have a better synopsis? If so, tell us in the comments. If you're curious what we're doing between YouTube videos, give us a follow over on Instagram. And if you like this video, hit like. And if you want to see more videos, hit subscribe. Family, I think we did it. Can I have a 5? And a 5? And you. Come get your high five.